Hey y'all, for this week's herbal lesson, I got a real treat. These are wild roses. I'm not a rose guy. I cannot tell you what variety these are. Okay. But this is this is what I look for in roses I'm going to use for herbal medicine. Basically, you look at this. There's nothing showy about these flowers, right? But the scent is incredible. Um, I said the other day in a podcast a couple weeks ago that there's a wild rose bush that grows somewhere between an eighth and a quarter mile from my house, and I can smell the roses on the front porch when it's blooming. That's this bush. Right now, if you were to walk in the front door, I mean, the smell would just hit you. Okay. This bush is covered in spines. It's one of the thorniest little rose bushes you'll ever see. And actually, it's not a little rose bush at all. It grows way up into the trees. It's a huge rose bush, but it has these very delicate little flowers. Now, roses are really interesting herbal medicine. Okay, you've heard me say before, yet another rose family astringent. It's called a Yarpha. Well, this is the mother of rose family astringents because this is the rose. Let's talk about the plant a little bit. Okay, obviously it's astringent. When you're looking at the astringency, the flowers do have some properties, and some people say the red roses are a little more powerful. But me, I go by my nose. It's the scent that tells me if it's good for medicine. The leaves are really where the astringency is. That astringency can help with diarrhea. It can help with sunburn. You can make a nice tea of this, cool it down, of course, and then put it on sunburn, and it will tighten that tissue and reduce the swelling. It's tonic. Okay, it's tonic to tissues. It tightens and tones tissues. Um, it's good for sore throats. It's good for a lot of things. Specifically, if you were just use the petals of the flowers and make a very mild infusion, I guess you'd say the leaves are definitely stronger. So I'm looking at the petals of the flowers. This can be used as an eye wash. Think about how Visine kind of shrinks the capillaries when you put it in there. This is tonic and soothing and astringent, and it'll do the exact same thing. And probably a lot better for you than Visine, actually. You can get pretty sick. Yeah, I think you can actually die if you take Visine internally, by the way, so never do that. This isn't going to hurt you. The plant is, it's what they call carminative. It means it relieves gas. It settles the stomach. It helps with diarrhea. It's also a laxative. Now, the seeds are a vermifuge, which means they get rid of worms. The other constituent of the plant that you can't see right now is the rose hips. Now, the rose hips are actually the most powerful medicine on the plant. They're those little red berries that will show up in the wintertime. Inside a rose hip are these little hairs that they used to make itching powder out of. So when you get your rose hips, you want to either split that hip or berry open and scrape those out, or you can take like a tea strainer and kind of push them through there. Make sure the seeds have the little hairs on them, and you don't want that. You can then take your rose hips and you can make jellies. You can make syrups. You can do the same thing with the flowers. The flowers are nice and sweet, very edible. You can dry them and make rosehip tea. Very high in vitamin C. This is one of the plants people used to use to prevent scurvy. So it's also really good to help prevent colds. And that astringency is going to help when you're getting a sore throat or a cough. So wonderful plant to have around. This is one of those that I say this is a medicine cabinet in a flower, just like violets and a few others I've mentioned recently. Um, all right, so well, one quality I almost forgot. This is strongly anti-cancer. They're doing, as far as I know, they're still doing studies to see if roses can help prevent cancer and even slow the progression of cancer. Hopefully, fingers crossed, right? This plant, why would I use this little diminutive wild rose as opposed to, say, hybrid roses? Let's think about it. This plant is good to go on its own. Okay, it's strong, it's tough. You would have a very hard time killing this plant without cutting it down and spraying everything with Roundup. This is hardy. It does not have diseases. You don't see any black spots on these leaves. You don't see any problems here. Flowers are a little wilted because I picked it yesterday, knowing we were going to have a big rain today, and I didn't get everything down in the water, but still, it looks pretty good and it smells phenomenal. Well, hybrid roses are bred for their looks. They have beautiful showy flowers, but they're so disease prone. I mean, we had a bunch, oh, I don't even know, maybe 2 dozen, 3 dozen beautiful, hybrid rose bushes in some landscaping. And I hated them because these things could not survive without being sprayed down with chemicals all the time. They were the most high maintenance plants imaginable. They had been bred to be beautiful. They had very little scent and they had very little immunity on their own. They couldn't take care of themselves. A plant that can't take care of itself, if it can't keep itself healthy, it's not going to keep you healthy. This is the one to go for. All right. Um, it's just it's a delight to have around, honestly. And you get some of these going in your yard. You can have it for first aid. You can have those hips for the winter. And I can't say anything bad about this plant really, except it's going to scratch you up. Thing is covered with thorns. So that covers roses. Now I have exciting news. Today I launched my new book. That's right. I co-wrote a book with a lady named Jolanta Whitley. It is The Herbs and Weeds of Father Johann Kunzel. This is an incredibly important work that was almost lost. It was only available in sort of an archaic form of German. She's from Austria. She was able to do the translation. We put our heads together. Um, the original work was less than 40 pages. It was a booklet. We came up with a 159 page based on his work, a modern commentary by modern herbalists. You're going to love this book. I mean, honestly, I'm going to put a buy now link in the notes for this class. Share it with your friends. If we get enough of the ebook sold, this is going to be an ebook, okay? But if we get enough of the ebook sold, I want to be able to offer this in print. Anybody who buys the ebook is going to get a substantial discount when we come out with print. I mean, basically just cover the paper and the shipping. We're not going to rip you off. And the great thing about it is with the ebook, if you do buy it, any changes or revisions, any new additions, I'm just going to send them to you free of charge. So 10.99 for the book, and it's a great book. I mean, Father Kunzel was one of the most influential herbalists of the 20th century. Had it not been for the world wars, the whole world would have known his name. Okay, this is one you're going to love it. So, roses and a new book. How's that? This is a great day, isn't it? All right, y'all have a good one, and I'll talk with you next week.